Welcome to Midweek Medicine, where you are the medicine. And I'm joined by Joe Riley at Yes You and myself, Alice, at I'm Alice. And today we're talking about how we can be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Because I don't know about you, but if you're alive right now, you might be feeling a little uncomfortable. It's pretty unpredictable times, and yeah, that's what we've thought of. We would share that today to see how people are feeling about how life is at the moment. It's almost like we're in a movie. I don't know about you. What do you think, Joe?
Hi, darling. Thank you for having me here with you to share the space again. And welcome, who have we got on live with us? Colin and Anu, welcome to the space. Being comfortable with the discomfort it's very challenging. It's very challenging. It's very uncomfortable. And I think a lot of people, we don't allow ourselves to even get to that point where we allow ourselves to go through that deep process and be able to sit through that discomfort of what we're feeling. We always will try and distract ourselves or push it or resist, like push it down or just pretend like it doesn't exist. And I think, you and I have been talking right now with everything that's going on as a collective, as well as in our personal journeys and our personal lives. We've been forced right now to sit with the discomfort and in these moments. But actually, if you allow yourself to sit in it long enough and you become comfortable with it, you realize that's where the breakthroughs happen. That's where the growth comes. That's where, because we are being stripped of everything right now. Every lie, every conditioning, every pattern that we've got in our subconscious from childhood, all our generational conditionings are being stripped from us, because right now, as we shift as a collective, it's all about truth. And so anything that is not in your truth, that you're still doing, that you shouldn't be doing, is going to be taken away. It's going to take you through a process of loss.
Yeah.
And I think loss at the moment, can be loss as death. It can be loss as relationships, friendships, work loss. It can be loss in all kinds of things. It can be material loss. Your phone's breaking, your laptop's breaking, whatever it is. There's just a lot of loss that's going on because those things aren't necessarily our truths. And so they've been taken away from us so we can step into a space of truth.
Yeah, and it's not easy. It's like you make out, it's like, yeah, that will make sense. Yes. But it's like, surrendering to that, seeing that in the mirror, what's going on, feeling it in the body, adjusting. It's challenging. And I think we need to acknowledge the challenges to ourselves. And I know a lot of my friends have been going through really challenging times. Things have been coming up, and it's, like you say, a lot of endings. But with endings, we've got new beginnings. So I always like to see it where when we have a sense of loss and we have big changes, to know in our truth that we will get through this. I think that's the underlying, that we will get through. And we're being squeezed. But we will, because we have to look at the past. How did we manage other things in our lives that were really challenging?
That's
And
exactly what I was going to say.
So when we look back, we can see that we managed those changes.
Absolutely.
We might have had to change a little bit. We adapted, we grew, we changed. We might have changed countries, might have had divorce or many things, grief, loss, like you said. But, we came through because we're actually very powerful beings. We're extremely powerful. And I think we often forget our power that we have. It's innate, but we have to find a way to access it. And when we access it, then we can have the breakthrough.
Yeah.
And we can recalibrate.
Just talking about what you're talking about, I think we are so conditioned to avoid pain and seek pleasure. But sometimes to be able to sit through that and process the pain, that is where the biggest breakthroughs happen. You know, if you look back in, like you're saying, in our past, every time we've gone through a massive growth or spiritual growth process, it's never come from being comfortable. It is always come from the outside of your comfort zone. Like, it's where you've been pushed. And so I think, yes, you're 100% right. We have to be okay with that, and actually don't always, we're so attached to the stories and the pain and the emotions. But actually, if you learn to process and feel and let it move, you know, you learn to actually accept it and realize we're always going to get through everything. If we're
Yeah,
willing to sit in the discomfort, if we are willing to make the changes, if we're willing to listen to what we need to do for ourselves, if we're willing to start listening to the truth in this space of ours,
yeah.
then we can step into that space. And it is
And it's
scary. I
very,
mean, you and I are
yeah,
going through it as well. We're all
yeah,
going through
yeah,
it.
okay,
Like,
yeah.
it's part of the
But it's a
process.
way like expression, isn't it? It's
Mm,
finding your expression. So it's like rebalancing the cells in your body. You know, we're energy beings. So if
yeah.
we can express how we feel, if we can
Yes.
make the endings sometimes that we need to make, we have to make those big decisions and we have to act upon them. And
Yes.
so it's a big growth spurt. And through
Huge.
that growth and through that healing, we come out the other side and we learn a lot. So many lessons. That's why I'm reminding myself. There's so many lessons in going through uncomfortable situations. There's so many rich lessons. It's redirection. When
Yes.
things don't go the way we want them to, and we think we're in control, and something else happens. It's like we're being redirected in our lives. Maybe
Yes.
it's a different country, maybe it's just a different way of working, maybe it's working with other people. But it's just like we are being redirected. So it's like really staying centered in our bodies, staying centered, being in our truth, in our power, in our inner power that is within us all,
Yes.
to then allow that, like surrender, and then allow that to come through
And I
and
think
what's on the other
you're
side.
right. Yeah, you're 100% right. You know, discomfort, I think sometimes if we can just see it differently, you know, it can be a great gateway. You know,
Mm,
you think about every great love started with the discomfort of vulnerability.
mm.
Every great achievement starts with the discomfort of knowing, if you can, is taking that risk and believing and trusting in ourselves. You know, all these things come from that discomfort.
Yeah, and it's like any new creative project. You have an
Mm,
idea and you think, "Oh, I don't know if I can really do that. I haven't done that before. Is it possible?"
yeah.
You work on that project and you work on that project and you iterate it and iterate it. And eventually, hopefully, you put it out in the world. And then you have another level of recalibration of the reaction to your project, say. And so it's sort of endless, really. It's almost like we're recycling and growing and changing all the
Absolutely.
time. And we
And it's
think,
not just as an individual,
no, it's collective. Yeah,
it's collective.
exactly.
Like the collective discomfort at the moment is
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. And I think it's to do with the fact that we think we're in control of our lives and we want to be in control, but
Yeah.
we've never been in control.
Yeah.
And so it's about, you know, being aware of our energy, allowing things to release. So for me,
Surrender.
that's
Mm.
That's writing, that's expressing myself. It's also supporting others as well, because I feel when I'm supporting somebody who's going through something, I'm equally aligned to that too, even though it's not my thing, I've had something else. But it's like when you're connected, when you've got the connection, like we have, we speak every week about different things, we have that connection. So it supports us and it gives us some stability in whatever's happening in our lives. So I think that's really key as well, is that people find someone that they can trust and support and also, connect through that. I
Definitely.
think that's very healing because when we share our truths and we share, like sometimes people have been going through stuff, and in the past, I've been through that. So I can relate and I can remember the things that helped me. And I can remember all I wanted really was someone to be present for me. and to listen. Because part of the healing is actually to listen to each other, more than the actual speaking, say.
And
It's
like,
actually,
you know, and that's what you and I talk about a lot, is community. It's finding our community, you know, so that we can find someone who can support us and just listen and just be that person, just to hold space for the process to take place, you know, without judgment, without any, it doesn't, sometimes it's not even advice, it's just listening. It's
no,
just being there, just having someone you can really be vulnerable and release and let go and talk about what you're going through without worrying about what they think about you, you
yeah,
know?
and the answers are always within us. So it's like we don't need somebody to tell us what to do.
Yeah.
We just have to allow that space for the answers, or maybe, you know, it might take not instantly necessarily, but allow those answers to come through. It's like to be received, you know,
Yes.
like it's that drop of inspiration that comes to us, and we go, oh, I want to go in that direction now, you know, or oh no, there, oh, I want to do both, no. But yeah, it's like, you know, taking that space, the healing naturally happens.
Happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if we create the space, you know, we have to, that's the thing, I think that's where our individual responsibility comes, is actually doing what you need to do to create the space, because the space can't come if you just keep distracting, if you keep numbing, if you keep doom scrolling, if you keep avoiding it. The space only comes when you sit with it and you move through it and you feel it and you allow yourself to understand and have an awareness of it. And just sometimes just sitting and observing your process gives you a lot of like, wow, observe it from a witness. So not as if you're living it, just take yourself out of that and just observe what you're going through and see it from a different, disassociate from it and actually see, okay, and then ask yourself, you know, is this really, you know, is this really painful? Like, what is this really? Am I putting myself in danger? Or is this part of me growing? And when you can start changing the way our narratives of what is going on, and that it's not all doom and gloom, and, you know, yes, it's uncomfortable. You and I'm going through it, you're going through it. There are moments where we cry and we feel, and these emotions and these things and this childhood and this generational stuff starts showing up. And even though it's
Yeah.
not us, we still have to process it in order to
Yeah.
heal it, in order to actually move and let go of it.
And
And
also, I
so,
think there's a lot of forgiveness of
yes,
ourselves, because
and just
often
even
we,
shaking, moving, breathing,
yeah,
journaling, these things
yeah,
create that space. Just
yeah,
sometimes even just pausing and going quiet, just finding some stillness, even if it's 5 minutes, even that pocket of stillness creates space for growth.
yeah. It's a practice, isn't it? Really, it's a practice of coming back
Definitely.
to yourself and giving yourself space. But I do think, like I said earlier, forgiveness. I think we have to forgive ourselves as well. You know, that things, you know, didn't work out how we wanted them to, and you know, we've been working really hard at something and it hasn't quite worked out yet. You know, it's like trusting the timing, but also, you know, like you said, there's so much collective experience going on. Often it's maybe not even ours, you know, it's not even ours, but we're feeling it.
Feeling
It's,
it. Definitely,
yeah,
100%. And, you know, not just forgiving ourselves, forgiving others. And not
yes.
because you're condoning what they've done to you,
Mm,
it's forgiving them so you find peace and you
mm,
can move on. It's about you, it's not about them. So forgive, and
mm.
that's where I think a lot of people go wrong, is they think, oh, I can't forgive them for what they've done.
Yeah,
You're not forgiving them for what they've done. You're
no,
forgiving them so you can release yourself from it, so that
yes.
you are not controlled by that story anymore, so that you can actually walk away and find peace in your heart again. And that is so powerful.
Mhm.
So yes, I agree. Forgiveness is a huge, huge foundation to actually
Mm.
finding, creating freedom and peace in your life.
Yeah, and one way of doing that, you can write a letter to that person and forgive them. You don't have to send it or anything. You can just burn it afterwards or rip
Yeah,
it up. But yeah, you know,
definitely.
sending that to that individual. If there's somebody in your life that is, you know, cause a lot of pain, then you can write them a letter and forgive them and really
Yeah.
mean that and explain that. And often there's conversations that we can't actually have with people in real life, but we can have a conversation on paper, and that can be very healing and releasing. So yeah, and
And
even
I
one for
always,
yourselves as well
with
while you're at
writing, and also with writing those kind of letters, I always think it's really important though to write it with love. So even all the pain and anger, so release that, absolutely put it down, release all the pain they caused you, but make sure that you always end by letting them go, forgiving them. Tell them, I forgive you for the pain you caused me, so that I can find peace in my heart, so that I can move on from these stories.
Yeah,
And
because
so I
often
can create it.
because often we can't have conversations with people. So it's just a way
Yeah,
of maybe
yeah,
just explaining how you feel. Because
yeah,
often it's miscommunication, it's
yeah,
misunderstandings, and then the wall begins and the wall gets bigger and then no one comes back together. So it's just a way of just explaining. It's not sort of a vengeance or anything. It's just expressing what's in your heart, really. And in
yeah,
doing that, you're actually forgiving yourself as well at the same
yeah.
time.
And while
Because,
we're on this,
all these things just
forgive,
help us grow, right?
yeah,
They just help grow.
while you talking about forgiveness, I think it's a very powerful thing to also, as we, like you saying, right, about writing letters and burning them and stuff, with that, not only do you grow from it,
Mm.
but you also don't take all that into your new life. You don't take it into the next part of your life. You don't take it into your next journey. So especially if it's a relationship or something like that, or a friendship or something that's gone toxic, and once you forgive them, forgive yourself, and you move from this space, you don't then take it into the next relationship. You don't start repeating the same patterns if you find true forgiveness. You actually let things go so that you can be you in a new relationship. Because I find a lot of relationships, they created through old patterns, old conditionings, old pains, old hurts. So there's always this like tug and war of what they're willing, how much they're willing to lean in, how much they're willing to commit, how much they're willing to trust. That's all just because of your old stuff. So if you forgive, you're not taking that with. You can then open your heart and start again and be okay and be like, it's okay. That was a lesson. That was an experience. I learned from it. But it doesn't
Yeah.
mean everyone is going to be like that unless you have not forgiven and are repeating the same pattern.
Yeah, and
Then it's up to you.
often it relates from our parents. So, they're the first people we need to forgive.
Yeah.
They did the
Yeah.
best
Yeah.
at the time. And so, yeah, really forgiving our parents, because that's affecting all our relationships and ourselves. So, really, if you hold any resentment against your parents, then I think that's a good place to start. Because when we
Start.
can release that and really have an understanding, a deeper understanding, then it's very releasing. And
And stop blaming others and
yeah,
take responsibility for our choices. And actually, then it helps us to take responsibility of the changes.
and it also frees us. It gives us freedom, because we don't want to be attached to old thoughts and old understandings, and that's affecting our current lives. So we want to, so it's a time maybe of surrender. So if anything's coming up for you, it's to work it through, to sit with it, and to release it. And what a
Yeah,
perfect day to do that.
absolutely.
And
Yeah, wow.
astrologically, they're saying this is the best day of the year. I
Yeah.
mean, just generally the best day of the year. So, what is it in today that we can see all the good things, really? Because we always focus on, where we need to heal because there's pain here and that. But what about all the amazing things? What about gratitude? What about the amazing things that we have in our lives? You know,
Absolutely.
just being alive, the fact that
Just
we are
being,
alive.
that's exactly what I was going to say. Just the fact that we
Miracle.
woke up and we had a breath,
Yeah.
we took
And
another
that we were
breath,
born.
and no
We
matter
made
what
it
we're
this
going
far.
through,
Yeah.
this is the most, I think for me, this is the most beautiful time to be alive. Like what we get to experience, as watching the whole of, humanity evolving as a collective at the moment. I don't think we're ever going to experience this in our lifetime again. This is it's like, it reminds me of like the Ice Age and all these things, and it's the New Age and everyone's talking about it. And it started in 2012 where everyone said it was the end of the world. But that was the start of people
Yeah.
becoming more conscious, more awake, more awareness. And so it's been since then, and now we're at that point where we finally get to evolve, and we actually finally get to make the right choices, and we get to bring the new generation in with doing things from truth, not by force, not by conforming, not by. And so that's why it's all collapsing. All the old, not that it does not align and it's not truth and was controlled, but is all collapsing, because we get to now step up and actually do things from love, from truth and love.
Mm.
And I think it's powerful and it's beautiful. And I think we just need to, like you said, we got to find the joy. We have to find
Yeah.
moments, pockets of really enjoying being in the discomfort, enjoy the process, because it's huge and it's beautiful.
And knowing that it's only temporary. Remember, everything's temporary. It's all temporary. So that makes it easier in the sense that we don't have to attach to it, because it's just passing through. You know, it's just passing through, and it'll pass, as they say. It shall pass.
Yeah,
It
this
shall.
too will pass. Yeah, exactly.
But I guess it's just
Absolutely.
making the most of everything in your life as much as you can.
And don't be so
And
hard on yourself. Like, don't put
yeah,
too much pressure.
exactly.
Don't judge yourself. Don't carry
Exactly.
guilt for making changes. Don't feel guilty for not doing something. Let's start getting rid of all these things that are keeping us so stuck, and that are then causing so much discomfort. Just be like, okay, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Like, just own it and be like, cool. But I get to move. I get to grow. I get to change it and not do it again. I get to do it differently. You know, every day is a new day. So let's just learn to be like, okay, so I made a mistake, or something didn't work my way, and something I put too much time and effort in something didn't. It's okay. You're going to learn. We get to grow, and I think
Exactly.
it's just without the judgment, without the guilt, without the shame. You know, just allow ourselves to just be okay with that.
Yeah, and call in the laughter, because that's one thing that really changes your frequency very quickly. Laughing, smiling, it changes the energy in your body.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
laugh as much as you can.
Absolutely.
Laugh,
Even if you're
laugh.
laughing while you're crying, just laugh about the
Exactly.
fact you're
That's fine.
crying.
That's
Laugh
that's
about the
double
fact that you're
whammy.
going through a deep process. And actually laugh. Yeah, I agree
Yeah,
with you. That's a
yeah.
great
Laugh through the
advice.
tears. Exactly.
Oh,
Okay. Well, I feel like maybe we've come to a close today. If there's anything else you want to say, but
no,
that
just
we're all in this
just
together.
be with it. Breathe before you react. Take a breath. Don't react. We're all being triggered. There's a lot of stuff going on. So if you get triggered, just take a moment, breathe, pause, shake, move your body. Ask yourself, am I growing or am I in danger? And then always find small moments of joy, even in the middle of it. Even when it feels like everything around you and your whole life and despair is coming to an end, find some joy or create it. Whatever it is, find it, because that will help you shift faster. Stay connected, find your community.
Yes.
And just remember, we're all going through this together as a collective, but we're all doing it on our own individual journeys as well. So.
Fantastic. Well, have a beautiful Wednesday, and we'll see you next week. So
Yes.
thanks,
Thank you,
Joe,
my
for
darling.
today, and we'll catch up again next week. Take
Happy
care.
full moon.
Yes. Bye.
Take care. Bye.